Good evening. It's just about the top of the hour, but you're just in time for the top bulletin in town. This is what's coming up.
Tonight, the divided and dividing revenue debate.
Sometimes we tend to operate as if money is in a tiririka to
The president articulates why he will not budge on the amount allocated to counties.
Also tonight, the rejected proposal.
I can do it. Why can't I give it a shot?
How Sonko has ensured the capital has no viable alternative to his leadership.
Plus, a keynote screech. Musicians decry the 2,500 shillings paid out as royalties.
When you see a song by maybe Masi Masika on TV, it has costed that lady more than 100 and something, even 200,000.
That is the highest collection distribution that MCSK has ever done.
Why the payments have plucked the wrong chords with the entertainers.
And buried in Kakamega County Youth Service uniform, but not so fast.
Walisema kwa hiyo kamba na kofia na firimbi irudi wapi? Irudi kwa county.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai and Smriti Vidyarthi.
We're glad you've chosen NTV Tonight. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa.
Let's begin with the battle for funds. And as the two houses of parliament are still deadlocked over the division of revenue bill, President Uhuru Kenyatta is still resolute that the counties will not get any more than what's available.
The president, in what may rub governors the wrong way, says his government has even been doing the counties a big favor by offering much more than what is provided for in the Constitution.
NTV's political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi has the latest on the pickle that has interrupted operations in some counties.
Such are the scenes in some counties as they protest the delay in the payment of their July salaries. This is a stalemate between the National Assembly and the Senate persists over the shareable revenue between the national and county governments. But even as the standoff persists, the president too is persistent that the counties will not get a higher allocation and should take what's available.
The Constitution says that we should give a minimum of 15% to devolved governments. My brothers and sisters, within 1 year of taking office in 2013, I had moved that figure to close to 30%. Sasa jameni, labda mimi ndio nilifanya makosa. Yeah? Labda mimi ndio nilifanya makosa. Because now it has been just taken for granted that it is there. It is not there.
He called on both houses of parliament to find common ground soon and governors to be open to ongoing discussions to find a solution.
Because sometimes we tend to operate as if money is in a tiririka to no? Money is limited, resources are limited.
We were 314. We convinced the president as our party leader to 316.5. That is the position of the National Assembly and it's cast in stone.
And in the line of the president's position, the leader of majority in the National Assembly has published an amendment to the Public Finance Bill seeking to authorize the Controller of Budget to be disbursing the 15% equitable share to the counties as stipulated in the law in the event of such a prolonged standoff between the two houses as has been the case.
The Controller of Budget does not need the concurrence of the two houses or the bicameral houses to approve.
After rejecting the division of revenue bill that came from the Senate last week, the National Assembly has moved ahead to form a 9-member team that will engage their Senate counterparts in an effort to unlock the county's cash crunch, but with a caveat. They insist that they will not move an inch more than the 316.5 billion provided for. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV at Parliament Buildings.
As counties continue to feel the effects of the cash crunch, Parliament is working on a bill to cap government borrowing that was pushing the country into a debt trap.
Majority Leader of the National Assembly, Aden Duale, has backed the draft legislation but proposed the ceiling be capped at 8 trillion shillings, up from the 6 trillion shillings proposed in an earlier version of that bill.
NTV's Lilian Kiari, however, reports that economists say the move is ill-advised and unsustainable.
Kenya's public debt has been spiraling up towards the 6 trillion mark. For every 100 shillings the country collects in tax revenue, it spends about 130 shillings to fund its budget needs. Parliament hopes a bill to cap the debt ceiling will mitigate the risk of uncontrolled borrowing.
Our debt and our revenue collections, we are not doing very well. What IMF says, the ratio must be 300%. So that if we are collecting more revenue, then we can borrow up to 300%. But again, IMF have issues with that. Our revenue projections are not very good.
The country's capacity to repay the loans has been impaired by failing revenue collection.
I think we have overborrowed. We should have stuck to the 50% that's provided in the PFM Act. But we have gone to 55%. So when this bill comes, I will support the either 7 or 8 trillion.
Duale argues that an increase of the debt limit is viable.
When we raise, the projection is also that the economy, because of the investment we have done in infrastructure and these other drivers of the economy, we expect the economy also to grow.
Economists have, however, dismissed the bill, saying that setting a specific figure to curb the borrowing, yet Kenya depends on the borrowed monies to plug the budget shortfall, is unsustainable.
That arbitrary cap of 6 trillion shillings, it is superfluous because we already passed 6 trillion shillings in February this year. So the justification for why new debt is required should be done when that debt report is presented to Parliament, so that the budget that then follows has taken into account all these issues about how much debt is required, what will be used, and how that debt will be serviced over the medium or longer term.
We should limit to a specific amount. Like if you want to borrow another 1 trillion, but give us the reasons what are you doing with the money.
Maisha ya mwananchi wa kawaida inaendelea kudidimia kwa sababu ya hiyo pesa inaenda juu. So maoni yangu ningeomba iende chini.
The accumulation of the public debt without clear investment returns has posed a risk of debt distress. The amendment of the Public Finance Management Act is thus set to give Kenyans comfort that their members of parliament are privy to what the government is borrowing and how the government intends to repay these debts. Lilian Kiarie, NTV, at Parliament Building.
Now, it's not every day that you see a candidate express interest in a job on the dailies, but today was one such day.
At 52 years of age and a father of 3, Philip Chepsat took the unusual step after being out of a job for the last 10 years. And though Governor Mike Sonko may have turned him down for the deputy governor's job, he maintains that he is qualified for it.
But for how long is the Nairobi governor planning to run the capital's affairs without a substantive deputy? Olive Burrows explores.
Self-proclaimed hustler Philip Ogoti Chepsat is a man unafraid to get dust on his shoes looking for a job, scouring the proverbial streets for vacancies. And it's why 6 months ago he offered himself up for the job of Deputy Governor Nairobi County, and following it up with an ad in the newspaper today.
People were offered the job and they turned it down. So I looked at it, I said, I can do it. Why can't I give it a shot? But the medium of, I didn't want to go to an individual, perhaps who knows the governor, to introduce me to the governor, because then I would carry the baggage of people. You know, if I were to go to somebody takes me to governor, then I would owe him a lot. I don't want to owe anybody anything.
That guy has applied, but that's a position of mwanamke, so that guy
Not everyone is convinced, however. Analysts are reading conmanship and dishonesty on the governor's part in first appointing an unapprovable candidate, Miguna, at the height of his deportation troubles, and then parading a list of female candidates on social media for a popularity vote, as though it were a pageant.
There is no way the assembly that comprises of individuals that support Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and others that support Raila Odinga, whom collectively have a problem with this gentleman because of the way he antagonizes them. He knew there is no way that name is going to pass.
Long con or not, there are those who, like Sonko's actions intimate, consider the role of deputy governor as superfluous.
My view is that deputy governors don't have any role. If you look at Section 32 of the County Government Act of 2012, the only role the deputy governors have is to deputize the governor.
Despite the protestations, the Nairobi governor has made it abundantly clear that he's a one-man show.
Mwenye anatumika asahau hiyo. And this is the last warning napeana executive. Your meetings zile mnafanya asubuhi ku undermine me, you forget it. I'm aware, and I've got the intelligence of each and every person who is here.
So there is hope yet for Philip, though he may have been turned down for the deputy governor's post.
Not so many people who are in public office know what people go through in small businesses. You see people walking around doing businesses, it's quite difficult.
Olive Burrows, NTV.
Mwanaume kujaribu, as they say, and Chepsat is one of those who see the need for DG within the Nairobi County. From the Nairobi governor drama to a question that is emanating from Samburu, of course, and this is on the meaning of the office of the governor, which has once again been put to question as governors barred from office by the courts continue to discharge their duties.
Well, Samburu Governor Moses Kasaine and Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu have been carrying out the functions of their office, but away from their offices in their respective county headquarters.
NTV's Brenda Wanga reports on how the governors have taken advantage of the ambiguity in the court's judgment.
It appeared to be just another day in the office for embattled Samburu Governor Moses Kasaine. Here, he is seen at a ceremony where the boards of the county public service, the county hospital and the municipal boards were being sworn in. All this, the functions of the office of the governor.
Challenges on the wage bill. This is part of the management that will help us also to manage our scarce resources.
He undertook this duty at the Maralal Catholic Pastoral Center, miles away from the county headquarters, perhaps in a bid to circumvent High Court orders that he stays away from his office until the charges of graft and abuse of office are dealt with conclusively. His actions come barely weeks after his appeal to have that order overturned failed, setting the stage for what is now becoming the norm when it comes to handling governors who find themselves in court over graft charges. Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu was the second to be hit with the same orders. But it will appear that both Kasaine and Waititu have interpreted the ban from accessing the offices of governors in their counties literally. Both of them have been adamant that while they will keep away from the physical headquarters, they will not relinquish the powers of their offices.
Kama kuna mtu alikuwa amekuja na karatasi nimsainie, si ningemsainia tu. Si nimekuwa hapa, yes. Media kama executive powers bado ziko na mimi.
We are waiting the final report on human resource and the management of the staff that we have today.
Their stance just adding to the confusion that the High Court orders continue to evoke. The orders had been seen as a win in the fight against graft, but the jury is still out on just how effective they will be, as there is no clarity on just what office in this case means. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
To the coast now, and the wife of suspected drug baron Ali Punjani, alongside 4 other suspects arrested at his Nyali home, will remain in custody for one more day.
Karki Sushmi, I should say, Nepalese national who appeared before Resident Magistrate David Odhiambo at Shanzu Law Court in Mombasa, will be detained at the Nyali police station.
The prosecution had asked the court to give police 7 days to allow them time to provide more evidence linking her and her co-accused to drug trafficking. The magistrate, however, declined and gave police only 24 hours.
They were arraigned a day after they were picked up from the suspected drug lord's home.
Well, police say they will be charged with obstruction of justice as well as being a part of a drug trafficking syndicate.
It has been over a week now since some 5,000 bags of sugar suspected to contain mercury was reported stolen from Bolore Transport and Logistics Company in Changamwe area of Mombasa.
The sugar had been declared unfit for human consumption and was to be destroyed, but how it was stolen from the godown remains a mystery.
NTV's Kevin Mutai reports that the Ministry of Trade and Industrialization maintains the sugar ought to have been destroyed immediately after it was seized.
The tight security arrangement at the Bolore godown in Changamwe area of Mombasa County shows just how difficult it should be for bags of sugar to be stolen without triggering any alarm. The gates are closed at all times and security personnel man every point of entry and exit. But amid all this, some 5,000 bags of sugar still disappeared. Just how many lorries and trips did the thief need to steal the bags and ferry them out without being noticed? The theory of the authorities is that it was an inside job, well choreographed and executed. The sugar had been impounded by a multi-agency team led by the Kenya Revenue Authority and Kenya Bureau of Standards upon suspicion that it was laced with mercury.
The committee directed that KEBS moves with speed to destroy all the sugar that is not fit for human consumption, except for the sugar that is subject to court cases that have not been concluded.
The harmful consignment could be circulating in the market, posing a great risk to Kenyans who love the sweetener. NTV has learnt that the whereabouts of top managers at the facility is unknown, as is that of the watchman who had been on duty for only 4 days. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations has begun a probe into the mystery surrounding the theft.
Largely looking at the samples, even the information we give you then, it was issues of moisture content, poor storage, deterioration in terms of quality and all that.
In 2018, the government launched a countrywide crackdown on contraband sugar, but the details of what became of the crackdown have yet to be released. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Now here's a difficult story. Police in Kitengela are investigating the murder of a young man at a gaming shop earlier today following an argument over a video game.
The suspect is said to have slit the throat of his 21-year-old victim when the argument escalated.
Meanwhile, the crowd that had milled around the shop attacked a police vehicle that was ferrying the suspect to the police station. Leila Mohammed recaps the drama.
A hail of stones aimed at this vehicle forced the crowd that was milling here to scamper for safety. The crowd that had been drawn to a beheading incident that stirred Kitengela town.
Saa hii vijana hao mwenye ameuliwa saa hii ameuawa juu ya PS. Juu walikuwa wanapigania kwa PS. Kwa PS ni hizi game zenye watu wanacheza za gaborin.
The suspect, said to be a Congolese national, had argued with his victim, a 21-year-old, over a video game before he slit his throat. Police were not too far from the scene of crime.
Nimekuwa mtaani na nikaona hao vijana wawili venye wamekimbia, mmoja amekimbia akategwa na jamaa mwingine, venye ameinuka tu hivi akajipeleka yeye police station mbio.
Senior Sub-County Police Boss Kinywa Mugambi says police would clamp down on any attempts to cause unrest, even as they investigate the murder.
Baada ya polisi wakuje waangalie kwanza mwenye amechinjwa ama amekufa, wajaribu kumuokoa, wanashika wezi, wanaenda wananyamaza, watu wamejaa huko ndani, hata evidence ishaharibika.
When all was calm, the officers created an aisle to enable their colleagues move the body to a waiting vehicle. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
We certainly hope there won't be any cases of retaliation, but our correspondent in the area is on that story. Thousands of musicians in the country unexpectedly received 2,530 shillings as royalties from the Music Copyright Society of Kenya.
Well, while receiving pay for work done would be music to their ears, this struck a raw chord with many musicians, especially the more established ones, saying it's a short change to their hard work.
And while the collective management organizations came forth to clarify the matter, they're still on the spot for disbursing less than the government expects them to.
Seth Olale gets you in tune with the latest dynamics of the music scene.
They say money makes the world go round, and off the spin, musicians' complaints have been doing the rounds on social media after 14,467 of the artists Tuesday evening each received 2,530 shillings as royalties from the Music Copyright Society of Kenya.
So in total, one song, when you see a song by maybe Masi Masika on TV, it has costed that lady more than 100 and something, even 200,000. A song like this.
Local artists who are toiling day and night in order to produce quality material for public consumption say that the collective management organizations are not doing enough in terms of revenue collection. They want a permanent solution and they're not ruling out other options.
For me, I would say that is the highest collection distribution that MCSK has ever done.
MCSK Chief Executive Officer Milka Kaluti says there is lack of understanding in distribution of royalties to registered local artists in this payment, which he says amounted to 44 million shillings.
The girls are calling me Yaga.
Last week, the Performance Rights Society of Kenya, PRISK, says it paid out 19 million shillings, with some of its 4,000 members receiving just over 4,000 shillings. This, just like MCSK's 2,500 shillings royalties, was categorized as general payout, where all artists received an equal amount.
Most of their music is being played with the broadcasters, in the radios, in the televisions. So far, we've not started collecting from the broadcasters.
Of the 44 million shillings collected from the music performances in public places, MCSK says it paid 37 million to its registered members, 3 million withholding tax to KRA, 1.2 million shillings was mobile money transaction fees, as 3.5 million shillings was disbursed to international collective management organizations. But the CMOs are still on the spot for under-disbursing. The Kenya Copyright Board says the 3 CMOs that include Kenya Association of Music Production, PRISK, and MCSK have jointly collected 118 million shillings, distributed 80 million, which is 2% less than the distribution target set by the board as a precondition for licensing. Seth Olale, NTV.
Well, as artists spit their toxic flow, we tell you about a toxic flow of a different kind. And have you ever wondered what happened to Nairobi as the place of cool waters?
Well, NTV's Charity Mwangi and a team from the Daily Nation spent the last 2 months with a team of scientists and toxicology experts investigating how a river that was once the source of life for Nairobi residents is now a greasy, clammy and smelly sludge that is used downstream by unsuspecting residents.
The team traced the Nairobi River from its source in Ondiri Swamp all the way to the Indian Ocean in Malindi. Here now is a preview of her special report, Toxic Flow, that airs this Sunday at 9 p.m.
Ningefikiria huu uchafu wanatupa hapa wangeliacha. Kama haya ndo ambayo yanatoka kule yanakuja paka kwa mtu wa Sabaki.
People upstream of this river don't care. We are polluting the river.
Unless the pollution is stopped, we're just damming poison.
Mimi nikipeleka hii sukuma huko kwa soko, siwezi kusema inatoka Athi River. Mimi nasema inatoka huko Ukambani.
Mali ya umma ni serikali itafanya. And so you dump plastic, you dump materials into the river, and they're going to kill your brother downstream.
Are you telling me it's now that there's cancer everywhere, big guys are dying of cancer, that we're realizing there's a problem? We have been incubating a problem.
That's Toxic Flow this coming Sunday, 7 and 9 p.m. with Charity Mwangi and team. We take a short break here on NTV tonight, but coming up,
the shocking details of how a dead Kakamega man's peaceful rest was disturbed, all for a county uniform.
Hey, mister. Where you going?
Men clean their cars themselves. I'll also clean my own bike. I'm grown up now.
Then you'll need this. The most pleasant surprise for a mother is to see her child growing up. But I know as he learns to take more responsibility, he'll face more dirt, germs, and the risk of illness.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection, because Dettol cleans and protects against 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
I shave, others will notice. Gillette's affordable 3-bladed razor gives you up to 10 smooth shaves. Upgrade to Gillette Blue 3 today. Gillette, the best a man can get.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustle ya Kenya.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
Life after high school can be tricky. Mostly if grades zako ziko chini, hey, going to university starts to sound like a dream. But Daystar University, wamefix your shida. With a diploma option, I'm now working my way towards my dream career. Wako na options kama ICT, business administration, logistics, community development, peace and conflict transformation, communication, na pia music.
Book your intake now. Call us or visit www.daystar.ac.ke for more information.
Guys, take charge of your future. Tunakucheki na tunakungoja.
Daystar University, excellence, transformation, and servant leadership.
In 2017, Lifestyle Estates promised Lifestyle Heights in Tatu City. The dream is now a reality. Lifestyle Heights is ready for occupation from 1st September 2019. Lifestyle Heights is a modern gated community of 2, 3 and 3 bedroom with DSQ apartments with amenities rare to find elsewhere. We are inviting you to our open day on the 24th and 25th August 2019 at Lifestyle Heights, Tatu City from 8 a.m. Karibuni nyote.
Once again, we are at it together. We are absolutely everywhere and we love it. This is what makes us tick. This is what makes our heart beat. It is always on the edge. It is always football time.
Get an HD decoder, dish kit, plus 2 months of DSTV family for only 4,999 shillings.
Welcome back. A family in Eburinde village in Kakamega County has been thrown into shock and grief in new word after the body of their dead kin was forcefully exhumed by officials from the county government to retrieve a uniform he had been buried in.
Area administrators and clan elders have condemned the incident, which was carried out without a court order.
Relatives, friends and neighbors continue to flock the home of Martin Shikuku Alukoye, whose body was exhumed under mysterious circumstances by officials from the county government of Kakamega.
Martin was epileptic and he died while crossing a river. He was buried on Saturday night as per the Luhya customs in his full Kakamega County Youth Service uniform. But the family was shocked when administrators from the county showed up at the homestead and without a court order, they exhumed the body of Shikuku to retrieve the uniform despite opposition from his family.
Ni kitu ya kushangaza. Watu ya youth walisema kama mtu yetu amesikwa na hii kamba, lazima tutoe, tufanye nini, tuchukue hiyo kamba na kofia na firimbi, irudi wapi? Irudi kwa county.
A few meters from the grave, the uniform and boots hang on a tree, yet to be collected.
Sisi tunajua mwili huwa natolewa kama kumekuwa na court order kutoka kotini. Lazima kuwe na malalamishi, mtu aseme apinge ya kwamba mwili haitasikwa kwa ajili ya jambo fulani ama fulani.
Elders of the Abangonya clan have also criticized the county officials for the exhumation considered a taboo in their culture. The deceased was dressed in a new set of clothes and reburied earlier this week after elders performed rituals to cleanse the family. Rozongwe, NTV.
And what they will do with that uniform, I do not know. All right, elsewhere. Has the NUT Secretary General, Wilson Sossion, lost his grip on the teachers?
A series of well-choreographed meetings by a number of other teachers' representatives backing the Teachers Service Commission seem to suggest so.
NTV's Zainab Ismail explains.
As the pay issue between Giant Teachers Union NUT and its employer TSC remains a sore sport, NUT Secretary General Wilson Sossion appears to be fighting a losing battle. At the center of the storm is the decision by TSC to run parallel payrolls for NUT members and another for Kuppet.
It is a shock and total disbelief that the Teacher Service Commission has arbitrarily introduced two payrolls in the public teaching service contrary to the internationally established norms in the human rights resource management.
TSC has however said the court ruling by Labour Court Judge Baira Mongaya left the Commission in an awkward position over the full implementation of the CBA. TSC says in order to comply with the court order, it was necessary to run a parallel payroll to capture NUT members and those who are not affiliated to the union. Pushed to the wall, Sossion now wants the management of teachers taken back to the Ministry of Education. But NUT Central Region Branch say calls by Sossion to have the Teacher Service Commission disbanded are uncalled for. Sentiments backed by the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers.
TSC is vital to the effective management of the teaching profession.
But NUT officials drawn from 25 branches across the Rift Valley are standing in solidarity with the besieged NUT official. The NUT officials hit out at the TSC for striking Sossion's name off the teacher's roll. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
From wrangles in the teaching department to the churches, a rival group from the Nairobi Central Seventh-day Adventist Church under the banner Nairobi Cosmopolitan Conference is now calling for the resignation of the church's leadership over allegations of corruption and poor leadership.
Now, these church members want the General Conference of the Church worldwide to set up a commission to take charge of the SDA Church in Kenya. Vincent Odwar has the latest chapter of the SDA Church troubles.
The Seventh Adventist Church has recently been peppered by rifts that have torn its leadership right down the middle. And now a rival group within the church, the Nairobi Cosmopolitan Conference, says the current leadership has failed to steer the church clear of the divisions.
Seventh-day schools, colleges, universities, health facilities, among other institutions, are run down and have become employment opportunities for close family members and the relatives of church leaders.
We are requesting or demanding that the leaders of Central Kenya Conference resign. The leaders of East Kenya Union Conference resign. East and Central Africa Division, that is headed by Pastor Ruguri, resign.
The rifts in the church are largely about efforts to control millions of shillings, as well as jobs in the facilities owned and run by the church. But apart from the money jostling to influence a list of delegates to participate in next year's global elections is also fanning the flames of the conflict. The NCC accuses the current leadership of manipulating the election of delegates and church leaders. The SDA Central Kenya Conference leadership, however, blamed the NCC of being behind the chaos after they were struck off the church's register.
Some of the church's top leaders are also engaged in outright theft of our church resources, which members contribute in form of tithes and offerings. This matter is very well known to the highest office of this church in America. And we're perplexed that they have not taken any action to come to sort out this matter.
The Nairobi Central SDA Church is now closed indefinitely. Vincent Odur, NTV.
The Cabinet Secretary for Trade and Industrialization has once again defended the release of edible oils valued at 10 billion shillings into the market.
The CS warns that those seeking to sell the product must strictly declare it as not fortified.
58 containers of the product confiscated by the government for lacking vitamin A have so far been released.
The decision to process was made long time ago. The challenge has been the importers not being able to get contracts from those who process for them to process. And processing simply means fortifying with the various vitamins. And I think specifically vitamin A that has been lacking in the imported oil. So we have upheld with the multi-agency decision to release the oil and then require those importers to either process it by fortifying it, or if they have to sell in its current state, then they have to label that to label the normal labeling that is required to meet the standard to show that it is lacking.
All right, it's 1:30. We take another short break on NTV Tonight, but when we come back.
Julian Zamboko will be telling you how the massive layoffs and job losses are affecting the tax man's collection targets on NTV Business.
Investing in the taxi business just got bigger and better with Maridadi Motors Smart PSVs. Buy a Smart Cab Plus from us at 1.25 million shillings and get 47,000 every month. A Smart Chop Chop Cab at 675,000 shillings and get 25,000 every month. Best news yet, we manage the cab for you and give you guaranteed returns every month. Maridadi Motors, move your status.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hasolia Kenya.
Welcome to Kisiwa Technical Training Institute. Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now for our September 2019 intakes in the following: diploma and certificate courses, electrical engineering, building and construction technology, business administration, mechanical engineering, informational communication technology, communication, automotive engineering, library information sciences, human resource development, food and beverages, business studies, general agriculture and supplies management. Kisiwa Technical Training Institute. Knowledge and skills for better life.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Go Tusonge mbele na Fiber Mobile. Get a fiber SIM card today and enjoy Tusonge mbele bundles at affordable prices.
John suffers from indigestion. His twin James suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because her tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities
For maximum cavity protection.
and now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
It is time to get down to business. Welcome, I am Julian Amboko. And let's start with matters of the taxman now. The Kenya Revenue Authority has begun feeling the heat of the massive job losses in the economy as the taxes collected from employment income shrink. Alex Mwangi puts that into perspective.
The Kenya Revenue Authority collected 1.58 trillion shillings in the last financial year compared to 1.44 trillion shillings the previous year. The 11.3% increase would have been higher, but for the pay-as-you-earn segment whose performance was subdued.
The private sector is where the pay-as-you-earn has been struggling the most. We're not seeing substantial employment growth, and even where sectors are growing, we're not seeing the workers getting huge pay rises and moving into higher bands. So that is going to continue because the sectors that traditionally employ a lot of workers, like the manufacturing sector, are struggling. The ones that are doing well, like the financial sector, are automating.
It's traditionally known that the taxman takes his dues from you, but did you know that you can also receive from the taxman?
If you give us information which will help us realize taxes, you can be given up to 2 million shillings or 5% of the tax realized, whichever is lower.
The authority is targeting to collect 1.9 trillion shillings this year. Traditionally presided over by the Commissioner General, the new man in charge, James Mboro, was conspicuously missing at the press briefing and was represented by 5 deputy commissioners. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
And on to some good news now. Motorists will have some relief in the cost of fuel for the coming month as the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority revises prices downwards. The cost of super petrol now decreases by 2 shillings and 86 cents per litre, while diesel reduces by 3 shillings and 28 cents. Kerosene consumers, on the other hand, will have to part with 1 shilling and 90 cents extra per litre. And the government will not introduce any price control measures in the dairy sector to cushion farmers from dwindling returns and consumers from higher prices. Despite increased milk production across the country due to improved weather conditions, retail prices of processed milk in leading supermarkets remain largely unchanged. Victor Kiprop with the details.
For a long time, Kenyan dairy farmers have been pushing for higher prices from milk processors to cover up for the increased cost of milk production in the country.
At least they give us an average of 35, knowing that anytime that I'm producing milk per litre, I'll get my 35 cents.
An objective the government says cannot be achieved through price controls.
We are urging our farmers to try and produce milk at the lowest production cost as possible. If you do it well, you can produce milk at a cost of about 14-15 shillings per litre.
But this, the farmers say, is impossible due to the high cost of animal feeds.
1 kg of daily milk is around 31-32 shillings. The same amount that you are selling a 1 litre of milk.
The various interventions to ensure that we bring down the cost of animal feed so that we become competitive and our milk becomes competitive.
But even as the government implements these strategies aimed at reducing the cost of production and keeping the farmer in business, milk processors have already cut the prices at which they buy milk from the farmer to as little as 27 shillings per litre, even as the shelf prices of the same litre of milk remain above 100 shillings, meaning the benefit is not transferred to the consumer. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business, Nairobi.
And let's circle back to matters of employment. Now, the restructured East African Portland Cement will recruit and cap its staff size at 600 employees, the company has now revealed. This will be a 36% decline from the 936 employees it had as of June last year and shows the efforts by the cash-strapped cement manufacturer to trim its expenses. In the financial year ended June 2018, the company incurred staff costs worth 4.1 billion shillings. Last week, East African Portland made public plans to lay off all its employees in a bid to stay afloat. And up next, we have the financial report. And that's it from the business desk, but coming up. The sights and sounds from the 93rd edition of the Kenya Music Festival at Kabarak University. Stay with us.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hasolia Kenya.
It's okay, I'm okay.
What happened?
It's just a little scratch, Mom. How can I play with bigger boys? If I'm afraid of little scratches, right?
What comforts a mother most is to see her child growing up.
Done, I'll go.
Of course. But I know that as he learns to be brave, he will face even more germs and the risk of infection.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection, because Dettol kills 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Nation FM. More music and less talk. Nairobi 96.3, Mombasa 101.5, Meru 93.9, Nyeri 104.9, Eldoret 102.7, and Nakuru on 97.7. Follow us on social media on Facebook at Nation FM, Instagram at Nation FM, and on Twitter at Nation FM KE. Nation FM. More music and less talk.
You in the pollution? Yes, you. Dry throat? Strepsils. Gal in the smoke with a raspy voice? Strepsils. Hello, in the downpour with a scratchy throat? Take Strepsils. Get soothing relief for any throat irritation. Strepsils with its medicinal ingredients will heal the harm done to your throat from external factors. Strepsils. Strepsils for a dry, itchy, raspy, scratchy throat.
Making my family some nutritious porridge is a painstaking process. First, I have to find all the ingredients needed, and there are many. For vitamins, proteins, and minerals, I need cassava, sorghum, millet. You no longer need to go through all that to make nutritious porridge. All you need is NutriPro.
You don't have to go through the trouble of finding, measuring, and weighing all these vital ingredients. New NutriPro porridge flour comes fortified with 13 vitamins, proteins, and minerals. This means that you have more time to focus on what's important, giving your family the healthy start they deserve. NutriPro, bringing families together. From Tropical Brand.
Parenting is all about learning when to be tough and when to be gentle. Tough, gentle. But when it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Tough call. Panadol Baby and Infant. Tough on fever, gentle on your child.
We define your great moment in higher learning through our tradition.
diversity, friendship, and merit. The depth and relevance of academic programs is our pride as we shape our graduates beyond the intellect. We are ready for you. St. Paul's University avails to you variety and consistency as we keep our programs technologically driven and entrepreneurially linked to inspire innovation and service. The door to excellence is open for you. Join us now for August intake. For further information, call us or interact with us online. St. Paul's University, unleashing untapped potential.
Welcome back. The third edition of the 93rd edition, that's why she's looking at me strange, of the music festival, the Kenya Music Festival, is wrapped up with the president hosting the best performers at the Nakuru State Lodge.
This after 2 weeks of competition at the Kabarak University.
30 schools took up the enviable slot of presenting their best work to the head of state at the climax of the 93rd edition of the Kenya Music Festivals in Nakuru. Along with the traditional themes on promoting national unity and cohesion, emerging themes on learning in the digital age, the new competency curriculum, and the upcoming census captured the music extravaganza in the round.
Competency-based curriculum, which we are going to deliver. And this music festival is going to synergize the delivery of that competency-based curriculum.
The president's recent trip to Jamaica serving as a point of reference on how the government can support and grow local talents.
I witnessed the conferment of awards to musicians that had used music to enhance social consciousness and those that energized revolutionary movements across the African continent in the struggle for the independence of various African states. This exemplifying the power of music in breaking new ground and expressing human experiences.
Should Parliament heed to the head of state's appeal to scrap tax on musical instruments, then in future the cost of music production could go down.
Speaker, nilikuwa nakutafuta jameni, ulikuwa umehepa. Mufanye hapo mweke amendment, hawa watoto waweze kupata these instruments kwa bei ya nafuu. Na tumeona wanajua kutumia.
Guest participants from Uganda spiced up today's feat in the spirit of the East African community. Bridget, Ghana, NTV, Nakuru.
All right, from that, let's take you across the borders now, and we start with the death toll from a fuel tanker explosion in Tanzania, which has risen to 82 after 7 more people died from their injuries.
A spokesman for the National Hospital in Dar es Salaam said 32 others were being treated, including 17 in intensive care, following one of the deadliest oil tanker blasts in Africa in recent years.
The explosion took place Saturday morning near the town of Morogoro. That's some 200 kilometers west of Dar es Salaam.
In a somber ceremony that took place on Monday, the country laid to rest 60 of the victims who died while trying to collect leaking petrol from the overturned tanker before it burst into flames.
And still in Tanzania, the embassies of the United States, the United Kingdom and Canada have expressed an overwhelming concern over violations of human rights in that country.
A joint statement by the American Embassy and the British High Commission has condemned the irregular arrest, detention and indictment of investigative journalist and outspoken government critic Eric Kabendera.
Well, they note that the erosion in due processes and violation of human rights in Tanzania is alarming. Kabendera was charged with 3 counts of economic crimes, including racketeering, money laundering and tax evasion.
It's time for another break, and we'll be getting into sports, which will include...
Which Kenyan coach is poised to replace Sebastian Minye as Harambee Stars head coach? Find out after the break. Hii ni ya wale wanajitambua, yani wale wanajiamini.
Yani someone took their sweet time and thought about us.
Rembo TV, simply beautiful.
In 2017, Lifestyle Estates promised Lifestyle Heights in Tatu City. The dream is now a reality. Lifestyle Heights is ready for occupation from 1st September 2019. Lifestyle Heights is a modern gated community of 2, 3 and 3 bedroom with DSQ apartments with amenities rare to find elsewhere. We are inviting you to our open day on the 24th and 25th August 2019 at Lifestyle Heights, Tatu City from 8 a.m. Karibuni nyote.
Can I buy a chocolate, please? It's for my mom. Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you, Bella. There's a class and a half in everyone.
Hope you had a fantastic day. Let's have a look at the day's sports news. Welcome, my name is Brian Otwal. Francis Kimanzi is set to step into the shoes of departed Frenchman Sebastien Minnier as Harambee Stars head coach. Sources close to the Football Kenya Federation have told NTV Sport that Kimanzi, who recently ditched his role as Kenyan Premier League outfit Mathare United's head coach to become Minnier's assistant, will be officially unveiled on Friday. According to the sources, Kimanzi will be deputized by Zedekiah Ziko Otieno, with the duo set to sign 2-year contracts. This will be Kimanzi's third stint as Harambee Stars head coach, with the previous 2 stints each lasting just 1 year each. And the national women's football team Harambee Starlets will face Ethiopia in an international friendly match this Saturday at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos. The Starlets will use the match as a build-up for their upcoming 2020 Olympics qualifier tie against Malawi. The first leg is set for August 28th, away with the return tie, and a week later at the Kasarani Stadium. Starlets, who have been in residential training since Monday, got a bye in the first round and will face either Gabon or Ghana in the third round should they win against Malawi.
Ati yo sinjui calm down is my birthday. Sinjui all people were born the same but legends were born in December. Mbona mnajisikianga hivyo ama mnaonanga mkikaa kale kamkate ka mwisho?
5 million Kenyan shillings for Team Kenya's participation at the 12th edition of the Africa Games in Morocco. This as Athletics Kenya denies any blame for the fiasco that saw the athletics and volleyball teams get thrown out of their hotel due to unpaid bills. Kenya will send a contingent of 234 athletes to the 2019 African Games to be held in Rabat, Morocco. The Ministry of Sports, through the Sports Fund, has set aside a budget of 335.77 million shillings to cater for all expenses pertaining to the Games as well as the athletes' allowances. Kenya's flag will be flown in 22 disciplines, 17 of which will serve as Tokyo 2020 Olympic qualifiers. Badminton, judo, shooting, table tennis and beach volleyball teams were the first to leave the country ahead of their opening matches scheduled for Friday. There shall be batches of departures on Thursday, Saturday and Friday next week. Meanwhile, preparations for the African Games went off track on Tuesday, with athletics and volleyball teams getting thrown out of their rooms at a Nairobi hotel due to unpaid bills. This saw the Ministry of Sports accuse Athletics Kenya and Kenya Volleyball Federation of failing to comply with regulations to host the national teams at the government-approved facilities. But in a swift rejoinder, AK has absolved itself from blame.
As far as Athletics Kenya is concerned, it does not arise to us because the responsibility still remains with Kenya National Sports Council. Therefore, we wouldn't have refused to do what the ministry or the government was saying because we were not the ones who were doing that. My take is that I think as a country, we need to have a good planning so that we don't end up with problems that we are facing now. Otherwise, we hope that our team that will represent in Kenya will not have been affected that much in preparation and also the trust within us and also the government.
In Morocco, Kenya will be seeking to better her 32 medals haul from the 2015 tournament held in Congo-Brazzaville that included 6 gold, 9 silver and 17 bronze medals. And Masai Ujiri, who is the president of the NBA champions Toronto Raptors, has spoken of Kenya's missed chance to be a host nation for the inaugural NBA-backed Basketball Africa League, that is BAL. Rwanda grabbed the opportunity and the Kigali Arena will host the first semi-final and championship games of the BAL. BAL will feature 12 clubs. Teams from across Africa is set to jump off in March next year.
In New York with President Kagame and everybody, and I think there is excitement, and we just have to push it and kind of show the way in which it's built. And President Kagame pushed, and this arena was built. Macky Sall has pushed in Senegal, and it's been built. We need this for this league, and we need Kenya to be part of this league because Kenya is a huge part of, I think is a huge part of Africa. What we're trying to tell everybody is that this has to happen. We have to make progress in sports on the continent, and it starts with big countries like Kenya.
And Kenya women's military volleyball team's hopes of defending their title at the ongoing East Africa Military Games suffered a dent after they lost in straight sets to Uganda in the first match played at the Kasarani Indoor Arena. A seemingly fit Uganda side won the first set 25-18 before extending their lead to 26-24 in the second set and 25-20 in the third set. Kenya will next face Tanzania on Friday. In the day's other results, Uganda thrashed Burundi 114-9 in netball. Meanwhile, the national netball team will face Rwanda in their first match on Thursday, while the men's basketball team takes on Burundi in the clash. And Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, that is KCAA women's team, are this year's Kekoso Games basketball champions. KCAA beat last year's champions Kenya Ports Authority 50-44 at Kisii High School to scoop the title. In the first leg, the team had pipped KPA 42-41. Their men's counterparts hit arch rivals KPA 70-47 in the semi-finals to qualify for Thursday's final against Postal Corporation of Kenya PCK. In netball, defending champions KPA beat Kenya Ferry Services, that is KFS, 36-24 to qualify for the final against KCAA. In football, PCK drew with KPA, as did Shabana against KFS.
And, I think we can start from there as we move forward.
And Kenyan athletes living with an intellectual disabilities are poised to enjoy better facilities in schools after United States-based Goselina Foundation marked the country for its global initiative. The Special Olympics Healthy Communities Initiative seeks to create communities where Special Olympics athletes and other people with intellectual disabilities have the same access to resources and services as able-bodied people. Special Olympics Kenya has been working with several organizations, among them Safaricom, to help address their challenges and help athletes achieve their goals. That's all from our sporting desk. But Super Cup coming just a few minutes into 10 p.m. A match between champions, that is Liverpool and Chelsea. A lot of that in our subsequent bulletins, that is tomorrow. But for now, have a lovely night. My name is Brian Otual.
All right, Brian, thanks very much for the sports news. Well, that's where we leave it on NTV tonight. Thanks to our sign language interpreter, and we'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi.
I'm Mark Masai. Good night.
This is NTV.
families together. From Tropical Brand.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustle ya Kenya.
The door to excellence is open for you. Join us now for August intake. For further information, call us or interact with us online. St. Paul's University, unleashing untapped potential.
What is chiropractic? Chiropractic means done by hand in full. Chiro is hands, and then practic, done by hands. We are able to address the human body's dysfunctions or pain based on what is not functioning properly, what is not grinding.
What exactly are we checking for?
So we are checking for nerve tension. Just something you should remember is that the nerve tension does not state where her pain is, but where the problem with the nerves are.
Super Loaf, slices of life.
Tanzania's local film industry, Bongo Movies, has been on a downward spiral in the last 5 years or so. I'm here in Dar es Salaam to find out what is ailing the sector.
Ghana's backyard gyms are gaining momentum, breeding a new pack of athletes hungry to take their training to the next level.
Here in the Cape, traditional wine estates are now collaborating with influencers and celebrities to reach new markets for their bubbly.
Super Loaf, slices of life.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated GE.